Hello, good morning, my lovely ladies. I wanted to share with you my latest journal, which I actually completed a few months ago. And I got inspired by this lovely image from this book, Creative Gardening, which has illustrations and photographs. And I got really inspired by this beautiful image of this wonderful door into a cottage, an English cottage, and with all these flowery vines over the door. I think it's just such a beautiful image. So it inspired me to make this journal. So this is the front cover, and this is the back cover, both from the same book. And I stitched around it with this wonderful burgundy thread. I've also put a bookmark, and the spine is from a ribbon from a store called Muji. When I bought something from there, I had them wrap it, and they give you this wonderful ribbon that I could not just discard. So it inspired me to put it as a bookmark in this journal and also as a spine. So flipping through the inside cover, again, the image of this wonderful bench beside that cottage, again, with flowery vines over it and a book. I can just really picture myself sitting in this bench on a wonderful weekend reading. It looks so peaceful. So I got really inspired by this, and I used it as an inner cover. And this is a photographic image from the same book, but I imagine that the door is from this cottage. In my mind, I think it's such a lovely picture. I've always been fascinated by English gardens and English cottages, so I thought that was a lovely image. I've put a combination of burlap and lace trim on the side of this page, and there's a little mini envelope, flip-up envelope here, a vellum page, and a 6x6 beautiful print here. Then I put a journaling card from some scraps, some vellum, and some stickers of these purple flowers. A lot of the empty pages are from notebooks that I've used, but where I didn't use up all the pages, so I've been using it in making journals. I didn't want to waste a single page from notebooks, so I would use it in making journals. So I want the user of this journal to be able to actually write, because I love to write, and I want the user to be able to write, or maybe have the option to write. I mean, if you wanted to attach a photograph or make other ephemera and envelopes to stick to here, then you could do that. But the option to write to me was very important when making this journal. I've got vellum in between the pages. I just love vellum. I just love the feel of it, and the texture and the sound that it makes. Isn't that lovely? Then more images from the book. I think this is clematis, if I'm not mistaken. Images from the book, stitched on the side. And this page is from a different notebook that, again, I didn't use up all the pages. And I just love the deckled edge on this page as well. Another beautiful image from that book. And I used the scraps from the book. Oh, how appropriate. Yes, climbing plants. So all these images in the front cover and the inside cover are from climbing plants, flowery climbing plants. So I thought it'd be appropriate to put, if you wanted to read about it, to kind of slip it into this page. I was really inspired by this image with this beautiful bridge. I love that. Love that. I got this beautiful envelope in the mail I forget now from exactly which organization, but I thought it was really beautiful and really fit the colors in this journal. I had made some tags from a masterboard, and I placed it into this journal just from scraps, and I put a layer of, this white thin paper, and I Mod Podged it over, and I really like the effect of that. More of this climbing plants over a window. Isn't that beautiful? Page vellum, empty pages to write. A music page. Isn't that beautiful? It's nicely aged. This is an authentic aged music page from a piano book that I got. And I think it's from the 1930s. So it's really delicate but beautiful. And I embellished it with some doilies. Made a vellum pocket. And the same writing pages with vellum. A doily. Isn't that lovely? I just love the feel of that doily. And again, an envelope that I got in the mail somewhere where I've inserted more of these masterboard tags that I worked on. And more of these climbing plants over doors. I think this is the theme of this journal, is just the climbing plants, the flowers against doors and windows. So beautiful. Then the center page is from a very beautiful book, one of my favorite garden books so far. You may all be familiar with it. It's a book called England is a Garden by Catherine Hamilton. And I've been using this book a lot, but saving the pages for center pages in my journal because I just find that it's so beautiful. I have a couple copies of this book now. So this is the center page for this from that book. The beautiful pinks. From an English garden in Farnham and made of delicate pink clematis. So it seems that I have a few images of clematis in this journal. It's a beautiful, beautiful image. And I didn't have the heart to cut the page because I found, like I said, the book to be so really beautiful. So I just flipped it over to fit the cover. And I just kind of flipped it over. So when you flip the page, you can still see the image rather than cutting the image out. And I put some lace trim on the side. And this is the back of that page. Isn't that beautiful? And another image of a cottage with a lot of flowery plants by the window. Oh, gorgeous. More of the masterboard tags. Beautiful envelope with lavender and purple. Isn't that beautiful? The doily. So now we're getting into the second half, or the back half of the signature. Lots of lovely writing pages with different colors that the user can embellish and add ephemera and embellish it in many different ways. This is the other side of the music page. And this side I did also put a doily in a vellum pocket and decorated with ephemera from that masterboard tags. Isn't that lovely? With the music pages and the images, the scrappy paper from the main book that I'm using, and also, I think this is from England is a Garden, from scrappy pages. So I'm not putting any pieces of the book to waste, making sure I use every bit of the pages. I love this aged music page. It's just so wonderfully aged. Look at that patina there. So lovely. And the blank pages that I use are perfect really for writing because it has the dot grid in it. So it's a combination of a junk journal and a proper writing journal. More vellum, more blank pages. Oh, I did an index card and kind of embellished it with the same burlap lace that I've been using throughout this journal. I love the pop of yellow that I put on this envelope. This is the other side of that envelope. I just love this image. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it's from somewhere in England, obviously. So beautiful. With a kind of rolling hill, the bridge, right? Let me check the other side of it. Yes, that bridge on the other side. Isn't that lovely? And the blue lake, it seems. And I just love this temple. It's like almost like a Greek temple, but I know this image is from England because it's from that book that I mentioned earlier. And it seems like a nice spring day. it actually reminds me of like a scene or a place where, if I read Jane Austen and their books, one of their characters would be, strolling through, the gardens, talking and chatting. For example, Pride and Prejudice, one of her most famous works. It just reminds me of a scene where Elizabeth and her sisters would probably be walking across the bridge. Actually, this looks really, really familiar. This looks like a scene from the movie Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley. Doesn't it look like that? That scene where Mr. Darcy, they came from a church service, and they were staying with that older lady, and then after the church service, Keira Knightley, I call it Keira Knightley, Lizzie and Mr. was walking through the rain, and Mr. Bennet followed her, and they were in this kind of temple-like structure, and he says his love for her, and then she says, well, you're the last man I've ever think of, falling in love with. And it just reminds me of that scene with the temple, and that just beautiful, lovely scene. So whenever I look at this, I think Jane Austen, the characters, whether it's Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, it reminds me of that time and of those books. I think it's really, really lovely. This is more this is the other side of that page. I think these are delphiniums, these cone-like structures there. And I love the green and the kind of light lavender purple, and that's turning out to be the theme of this journal. It's white, light lavenders, and purples. Just really lovely, again, against the background of this beautiful English cottage. And I just made, from the scrap, from the music pages, I just made this, I posted it on cardstock and made it more like a, ephemera holder within the journal. And again, so I think this was appropriate to put here, clematis, again, the climbing plants that you see going up this door. So I thought it was appropriate to put that piece here, and I made it into an envelope, and I stuck images that I put against cards. So images from that book that I've been using, stuck it in cardstock so you could use it as a journaling card. Thought that was a really cute idea. And I also have extra journaling cards there. This is the other side of it, 6x6 paper. And I just really liked the color of this paint chip. It's called Vintage Ribbon, but I thought the, light lavender purple color went with the whole journal. And I had a bit of a scrap left from the ribbon from that Muji gift wrap. So I just stitched it against this, and I thought it was appropriate, vintage ribbon. And I just clipped it onto this page. And again, this could be a different cottage, but again, it goes with the theme of the cottage and gardens, English gardens against the cottage. And I put a vellum pocket where you can stick further ephemera. But I love the vellum pocket because it doesn't take away from the image in the background. So if I put an actual opaque paper pocket here, it would cover, the white flowers and the part of the garden, and I didn't want to do that. So I thought that the vellum pocket is really a wonderful idea so that you're not covering the full image. And I stitched up more of this burlap lace on the sides, at the top and on the sides. And then these are more images from that book, illustrations from that book. I stuck it into cardstock so I could use it as a journaling card. And this is just some extra scrap from a 6x6, one of my 6x6 papers. And this is the back cover with more of these purples and pinks that I thought went with the rest of this journal. Isn't that just beautiful? I mean, look at that. And then the back page, oh, so beautiful. Pinks, whites, purples, and greens. And I really had a lot of fun making this journal. And actually, I was thinking about, as I was talking, this image here. You know what? I think this is actually from that movie, Pride and Prejudice. It just looks exactly like it. Because weren't they walking over a bridge? Lizzie walked over the bridge and then Mr. Darcy followed her. Isn't that this bridge? And then they walked and walked and they reached this temple-like structure. I think this is the exact image. Oh my goodness. I love this journal. I loved making this journal, but the fact that this is from the movie Pride and Prejudice, I'm almost sure it's this area here. It makes it even more thrilling. Wonderful. Oh my goodness. I like this journal even more. So I hope you really enjoyed this flip through, and leave me your comments, like and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Bye.